Yeah, what's going on, family? Y'all already know what time it is. Back with another episode of Camionero Cartel. Now, for those of us that don't speak Spanish, Camionero means truck driver. Cartel is a band, a group, or a team of people that work together, collaborate in order to gain financial strength, power, and influence on a national and international basis. As always, family, make sure to get your CDL, make sure to get your passport, and make sure to get your plane ticket, right? Because I want you to live the best life that you can be and stay out of negative environments, stay away from negative food, and also stay away from a negative mindset, because your mindset will determine your level in life that you reach. Okay? In other words, your attitude will determine your altitude. Now, today, we're going to have story time. Back in the early 2000s, there was a website and also a chat line that I would use in order to meet women. Okay? It's called Lava Life. Some of you all that was from that generation, right, were early 2000s. In the early 2000s, you were in high school or in college. You remember something called Lava Life, Live Links, and also POF was pretty much just popping off back then. So, in my quest for love during that time, I would get on these different websites, right, or I would call these different numbers, right, as a young man, in order to try to meet women, right, because I'm trying to get my whistle wet. I'm just getting outside the house. I hadn't really been out here too much at that time. Didn't know what the dating game was all about or what the world really had to offer. So the most convenient way to do that is to call these numbers, right, that was given to us through the commercials that would always come on TV late at night. I don't know, was it on HBO or Showtime, but these numbers will come up online or on TV, and they would say, hey, if you're looking to meet local women in your area, right, that are looking to have an encounter, then call this number. So I would call these numbers, Lava Life and Live Links, all right, and on those specific hotlines, you could listen to all the voices of the different women from all around in your area, right? And you could also leave a profile voice note as well, so people can hear who you are, right? And we can kind of listen to each other's voices and listen to the messages of each other and determine whether or not someone is a match for you, right? If you're interested, there was a number on your phone that you could touch, right? So that person can be alerted that, hey, you're interested, okay? And I believe that was called leaving a wink. Or you could take it a step further for those of us that had the cojones, right, to take it up a notch. We could actually leave a message. So pretty much, I left a message for a group of women, right? Any woman that sounded halfway decent, I would leave a message for, right? And my messages would always go like this, all right? I would always use the same line every time. I would say, excuse me, miss, I just got through listening to your message, and I think you're attractive. I want you to do me a favor. Listen to my profile. If you like what you hear, leave a message in my box, and I'll get back with you as soon as possible. Man, I said that so smooth. As soon as the woman heard that, man, they would always hit me up, you know, because I always had a profile picture. I left my profile like a physical description of myself. You know, and I would say, hey, you know, I'm 6'2", 225 pounds, milk chocolate complexion, athletic build. I have a few tattoos as well. If you like what you hear, leave a message in my box, and I'll get back with you as soon as possible. All right? Peace. Man, smooth every time. Man, my voice box, my mailbox would be blowing up. I used to get the bring, bring, bring. You have a message from Ashley. You know, if you want to connect with Ashley, press 1. you want to leave a message for, man, I used to do that all night. And that helped me to kind of get outside the box, because back in high school, man, moms had moved out to the countryside of Georgia, and we were kind of living in a more of a sheltered environment. We had kind of moved out of Atlanta, right? So we didn't have that exposure that we had when we were very small, right? So as adolescents, we were kind of more of in a sheltered environment. So we had to use any resource that we had to kind of get outside of that bubble, right? And we could use television, right? Like channels like HBO, right? That came on and had specific programs that would come on in the evening time, whether it was Taxi Cab Confessions or Real, Take One or Take 25 or what have you. You all can put the pieces together, those of you who lived during that time. And those shows kept us entertained, but it also sparked a curiosity in us, and it led to me getting online to meet these women. Now, one time I had met a woman while I was in college at the university down at Albany State University. And if you don't know anything about Albany is a very country, rural town. Everybody down there looks like me, brown skin, whether they're chocolate, milk chocolate. It's very rare when you see vanilla skin down there in Albany. So when I first got down there, I ended up calling the same line that I was used to calling already, and had developed a comfort level with calling to meet women. And I met this woman whose voice sounded a little more raspy than I liked or preferred for it to be. So with my state of desperation at that time to meet women, okay, away from home, right? Because mom wasn't gonna permit anybody to come over the house when I was there. So now that I'm in my dorm room, right, I had the freedom to talk with whoever I wanted to. So I met this woman online, all right. Well, and like I said, the voice was a little bit more raspy. And like I said, when women are kind of more in that street environment, sometimes they smoke a lot and do other things that could lead to her having a more of a raspy voice. It's more like, yeah, what I'm saying. So I was like, all right, cool. Your voice is raspy. Do you smoke or something like that? She was like, yeah, I smoke. I was like, all right, it's cool, whatever. Everybody do their thing. But your voice seemed a little bit more raspy than normal. She was like, yeah, why, what's up? Is something you want to ask me? And I was like, nah, ain't nothing I need to ask you. At that point in time, I was actually looking for a place to stay as well, because I was tired of living in my dorm room, right? My dorm mate was a little bit of a interesting character, but I'll leave that for another video. I'll tell you about him, all right, and what I did to him at the end of the day, all right? But moving right along with the story. So I asked this woman, hey, I'm looking to, meet you. And quick question, I'm new down here to the Albany area. Do you know of any place where I could go and find a place to stay? Because I'm new here. I work over here at the Sam's Club. I don't have anything to hide. I'm a good guy. I'm a college student. I don't cause no problems. Don't have a lot of money to work with right now, but I'm willing to, negotiate something reasonable for a room, right? So she said, well, actually, I'm renting a room. You know what I'm saying? She says, I know somebody that's renting the rooms. I'm renting a room, right? Because I stay in a 4-bedroom house. So I'm like, oh, really? Word? Okay, cool. She said, when can you come over and check it out? I said, all right, when I get off of work, when I get through, cutting the meat over here at Sam's Club, that's what I was doing over there. I was a part-time butcher, right? So I did my 5 hours over there, and then I would be free today, free for the rest of the day to go to class. So when I finished cutting my, or fulfilling my shift that day at Sam's Club, I got in my Honda, right? I think I had a 91 Honda at that time, and I went over there to check out the spot, right? So it was late, because I think I got off right around 7, 8, so it was pretty much nighttime outside. So when I get over there, man, first thing I noticed that it was an old wooden house, all right? The streets were dark, not a lot of activity going on, right? And I pulled up in the driveway. I got out and walked up the I walked up the stairs, right? Wooden steps, red wood that led up to a white wooden house, right? But the wood, the paint was pretty much chipping off and so forth, so it wasn't like a new conditionally freshly painted house. And first thing I noticed is that all the lights were off inside the house, and the door slowly, before I could even knock on the door opened up, and I saw somebody standing there in the doorway, a silhouette, right? And I saw by this silhouette that whoever had this silhouette, or whoever was responsible for standing here, right, who was creating this silhouette, had permed hair, right? Permed hair. And this person was very dark complected. Okay, so as I got closer, I didn't know who this was. I didn't know who it was or anything like that. But all I can see is that there was a blue hue behind this dark silhouette standing in the entranceway to this house that I'm supposed to go check out for where I'm supposed to be living. I'm possibly going to be living, all right? But I didn't have a good feeling about this situation already, all right? So when I got to the front door and within arm's reach of the actual handle to open the door, a man said, "Ooh, I didn't know you look. I didn't know you were this fine, right?" So I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "Hey, what's going on? Everything all right?" "Yeah." She said, "Yeah, come on in." So I was like, "Okay." So I came on in. You know, I didn't want to be rude or nothing like that. So when I got up in the spot, first thing I know that everything was dark inside the house. The hallways are right in front of me. Everything dark going down the hallways, right? The living room was dark, but the only thing was on was the TV screen, right? And it was creating a blue hue inside the living room, right? So this person's face was very greasy. I noticed this person's face was very greasy, all right? And it sounded like the woman that I was talking to on the phone by the raspy voice, right? So this man had permed hair and had, you know, chocolate complexion, right? And this person went over and sat down on the couch across the room from me, and pretty much after I took 2 steps in, I sat down on the love seat, okay? And that person was asking me, "Hey, you want something to drink?" I said, "Nah, I'm good. She said, and this, now, also, I want to tell you something else. The place was it was just smoked out with incense. All right, so imagine just being smothered in incense. So I can't smell anything. I barely can breathe. All I'm doing is getting suffocated with this strong smell of incense. And I love incense. But this person had the place smoked out. So it was obviously trying to hide something, right? And when I sat on the couch, this person didn't say anything, right? I sat there and I was like, how can I get the heck out of this situation? This was a horrible decision. How do I get out of the situation? So I sat there and this person asked me, said, "You sure you don't want anything to drink? You good? You good?" And I was like, yeah, I'm good. This person had a white t-shirt on with a red ketchup stain in the middle of their shirt, okay? Red ketchup stain in the middle of their shirt. So I'm sitting here in the dark in this with this blue hue in the living room, and I said, I got my cell phone. I could pick my cell phone. I can act like somebody's calling me, and I could use that as an excuse to leave. So I act like while I'm sitting there with this person, he'd ask me questions. I kind of jerked like, "Oh, let me see who's calling me," right? Hold on real quick. So I got up and I act like I was talking to somebody, and I walked outside on the porch. I was like, I said, "Hold on real quick." So I got on the porch. I was like, "Yeah." "Oh, for real? Okay. Hold on then. Yeah. All right." And I started while I was on the porch, I'm like, okay, what do I do? I'm outside of the house now. Where do I go? So I started to make my way down the porch, like, okay, yeah, I'm on my way. All right, hold on, man. Y'all don't do nothing, man. I'm on my way. I got in my car, I reversed, and I skidded up out of there, man. Woo! One of those experiences that you never forget. When you're young, you're trying to establish yourself, you're looking for a place to stay, man. It doesn't always go smooth. It's a process sometimes. And that's why you always have to be careful with who you meet online, whether it's on the phone or on a dating website, because sometimes there's some catfish out here that will really have you fooled thinking that there's somebody that they want to be, but in reality, they're a completely different person. All right? So let that be a lesson to all of you all. Take your time getting to know somebody. Don't be in a rush, because sometimes the juice ain't worth the squeeze. All right? As always, family, story time with Camionero Cartel is complete for today. Make sure you stay out of negative environments. Keep your money on your mind and your mind on your money. Let's continue to move forward. Be positive and move weight around the nation. But we move weight that builds up the nation, not tears it down. All right? I need you on the team, family. Join Camionero Cartel. Like, subscribe, share with a friend, and we'll be in touch very soon. All right? As always, be good, stay blessed. Peace.
Thank you for flying Camino Cartel Airlines. Welcome to Colombia. The weather is currently 78 degrees. If you look at the window, you can take an absolutely amazing scenery in the plane. Please, when you exit the plane, don't forget to grab all your belongings and look behind you. Have to make sure that you have not forgot anything.